to this 40-minute Soma Yoga practice. It's going to be themed about embodying your boundaries. And as always, like everything here is an invitation, it's a suggestion, and your, empowered voice and choice is more important than doing something. So even the choice to not do something is celebrated. With that, if you want to, come join me on the mat, like lying down on the back. And as usual in the Soma Yoga practice, we're going to start with a little check-in. So you could close your eyes or keep them open. But the invitation is either way to just kind of tune in and to meet yourself where you're at and to see how you're feeling. So noticing what's happening on like the level of thought, on the level of your mind. What's happening on the level of emotion, on the level of energy, right? Like, is there like a lot of energy buzzing inside you? Or maybe there's like a lower tone. And none of this, by the way, is like bad or wrong or right, right? It's just kind of meeting yourself and saying hello. Now, if it's available, just getting curious and maybe extending a hello to whatever you find inside of you, knowing that it's all welcome here. Noticing what's happening on the level of sensation, like I'm noticing my shoulder is hurting a little. So, hello, hello, shoulder pain. Ah, yeah. So just noticing whatever's true for you. And from here, the next invitation is to place one hand or maybe both hands around your navel, so around your belly button. And just taking a moment to maybe notice or feel your breath kind of moving in and out of your body. Maybe you feel your belly lifting and lowering. You might feel some temperature, firmness or softness. And you might notice like, what is your belly feeling with your hand, like kind of like supporting or giving your belly some touch? So our navel in many different places, and it has a lot of meaning. Our gut, our belly button, our center. So in yoga, this is the place, the Manipura chakra, the place of our inner fire, right? Where we uh, gather energy from the universe. And from like a developmental neurobiology point of view, this is like our first sense of self when we're little babies in the womb. This is where all the nutrients come in, where all the metabolic waste comes out. And this is where our first sense of self is because we don't have thoughts or thinking or like a sense of like me, ego, but we have feeling, we have sensation and movement. This is where the first movement comes. And I'm actually going to invite you to, in a moment, do something we call navel radiation, which is like it's like a primordial movement of like expanding, opening out, and then contracting in. This is like one of the oldest patterns of movement. It's ancient, and even our cells do it, this kind of pulsing. So for now, the invitation is to maybe make the shape of a star with your body. And just kind of tune in to your 6 limbs. So we have 6 limbs, by the way. So starting first with your right leg. So you might notice, sense, or imagine the whole pathway of your right leg going from your belly button all the way to your toes. And then feeling, noticing, or imagining your whole left leg. And then feeling, noticing, or imagining your whole right arm all the way to your fingers. And then your left arm. And then from the navel all the way up the spine to the top of the head. The head is also a limb because it can move. And then feeling all the way down through your belly button to your tail. Oh, we used to have tails, but now we just have a little, a little bone, what's left of the tailbone. And from this place, if you want, the invitation is to like feel into this movement of navel radiation. So feeling into all of your limbs kind of expanding out as you inhale, then exhaling out. And then inhaling, curling all your limbs in towards your navel, making a little ball. Exhale. Inhale, expanding out. Feeling the pathway of movement, of blood, of energy in all your limbs. And then curling back in. And if you want, repeating this ancient movement, this developmental movement a couple of times. Just kind of waking up your whole body and see if you could feel this movement, this impulse coming from your navel, from your belly. This is also a place, the gut. This is like our third brain. We have like, I forgot the number, I think like 100 million or something like that, uh, neurons, so brain cells in our guts. So this is like a place where our inner yes, no, or maybe comes from, the center of emotion and the center of our embodied boundary. Like, that gut instinct, it tells you when something is off. I'm sure you've had a situation like that where your belly was telling you, no, this is wrong. Yeah. And then the next invitation is to maybe pause. You might bring your thighs towards your navel for a moment. Maybe finding a little bit of rocking from side to side. And the invitation is to notice, how are you feeling now? Has anything increased, decreased, stayed the same? Maybe you feel more alive. Maybe you feel a little more like relaxed. And just kind of noticing, no right or wrong. And then whenever you're ready, let's roll all the way up to seated. And some choice, an opportunity to choose. One way to do this next piece is to bring your hands for some support behind you. Or if you want to feel into that center of that primal sense of self and that fire in your belly, you're welcome to keep your hands up, so no hands. But either way, the invitation is to start to move your knees from one side of the mat to the other, either no hands or maybe with the support of your hand. And if it's available or accessible, maybe letting this feel good or like neutral. So there's a lot of studies out there that tell us that when our body feels safe enough and when it feels good, or at least okay, it starts to like relax and soften on its own, right? But when we try to force and push our body, it usually resists and contracts. It's like us as humans, right? It's like whenever someone's trying to force you to do something, you're like, no. Yeah, well, our body does the same. Yeah, and so the next invitation, if you want to, if you're down for some guided movement, the invitation is to bring your knees over to the right into this little deer pose and lifting your left arm up towards the ceiling and then coming down into a twist, coming down, scooping under your heart and repeating this a couple of times. You're welcome to find your own rhythm, your own tempo, your own range of motion. Breathing naturally or maybe inhaling up. Maybe a longer exhale down. You could even add some sound. Some vibration is like another way that invites the parasympathetic nervous system, right? So a longer exhale plus sound. It wakes up the vagus nerve, which goes through up through our belly, up to the heart, and into our face muscles and into the brain. Yeah. And whenever this feels complete for you, and the invitation is to come back to center and to find these windshield wipers again. Hands or no hands, your choice. And yeah, and sometimes we don't know what we want to choose, right? So you're welcome to try it out and check out, like, is my body saying yes to this or is it saying no, right? So Soma Yoga isn't about like getting anything right, perfecting anything, but it's about learning the language of our body and getting in touch with that primal yes and no. And this is also where our embodied boundary comes from, right? When our body says no. Yeah, so whenever your knees come over to the next time to the left, the invitation is to pause, reach your right arm up, and then scooping it down. And repeating this movement as many times as you'd like. Moving with me or finding your own rhythm. Breathing naturally, or perhaps a long inhale and an even longer exhale. Maybe a sound wants to come out. It could feel weird to make sounds, I know, especially if we've been socialized, to be small, to be quiet. But what would it be like to let yourself roar, to let yourself get big, to take up space, to make sounds? All righty, and from here, let's meet in downward facing dog. Yeah. And you could stay in your down dog with straight knees, bent knees. I like to bend and straighten one knee at a time. And wherever you are, the invitation is to look in between your hands, maybe step, maybe hop, and pausing here in this forward fold for another moment or two with bent or straight knees. I like to actually have my knees bent and to kind of sway around. Another thing you could explore here is invite tension into your whole face. Maybe make like a weird face, engaging all the muscles, and then with intention, slowly inviting it to soften. 3, 2, and 1. And then in your own time, let's roll all the way up to standing. Fixing what has to be fixed. And let's meet at the front of the mat. And center or in mountain. Yeah, and just noticing how this new relationship to gravity feels for you to stand. And now I'm going to offer a little bit of balance and incorporating that primordial movement, right? That developmental movement of feeling from your navel contracting in, expanding out like a starfish. And so the invitation is to maybe step your legs out a little wider. And then pick a leg, right? I'm going to go over to my left leg first. And feeling into your navel. And as you feel into your navel, picking a leg and shifting the weight of your body onto it. You could bring your arms out wider and come onto the tiptoes of your opposite leg. And the first option is to stay here. This is perfectly great. You could also hold on to something, right? Holding on to a wall. Or the second option is to maybe find some balance, a little balance play. So bringing that leg up any amount. And the third choice, if you want to play around with it, is to find movement, right? So to come curling in to your navel and then feeling the movement, the impulse, that energy expanding out in all your limbs. All the limbs contracting, curling in And then expanding out. And one more time. And as you expand out, notice what it's like to take up space. And then let's go over to the other leg, staying on tiptoes, or another option could be to fly that leg up any amount. And you're welcome to stay in stillness or finding this movement, connecting to your inner yes, to your inner no, your inner maybe. And the thing with our body, right? It doesn't speak in English. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in sensation, in temperature. It speaks sometimes in image, in color, right? So maybe feeling into like, where does this feel like your body's saying yes? How does it feel like your body's saying no? Like where is the right fit? All right. Whenever you're ready, let's come back to center. And if you want, placing a hand flat across your heart. And there's a chance you might notice that your heart is beating a little faster. Maybe your breath is a little faster. That's actually the stress response. That's the sympathetic nervous system, and it's not bad. It's our life force. It's what helps us move. And like we wouldn't be able to live without it, right? But it needs to be flowing. And our body knows how to help it flow through. But sometimes, because of different, you know, either socialization, trauma, or different kind of loops that we get stuck in our minds, we kind of interrupt the stress cycle. But it's actually not evil. And our body knows, like you might be noticing that our body knows how to come back down, how to settle down, how to slow down the heart, how to slow down the breath. All right. Whenever you're ready, the invitation, if you want, or some more guided movement, is to lift your arms up as you inhale and exhale, folding forward. Inhaling halfway up. Exhale, hands anchor down, and stepping back to downward facing dog. You could stay here in your down dog, right? So finding the version that works for you in this moment. And then whenever you're ready, the invitation is to lift your right leg up and to step it in between your hands as you release your knee down. And if you have some blocks or some books or pillows, you know, using whatever to make yourself more comfortable, right? I'm really a fan of finding comfort because when our body feels comfortable enough, it starts to open, starts to release. And here's an opportunity to find some free movement, right? So that might look like rocking your hips forward and back. You might lift your back knee, and again, maybe straightening, bending your front knee, and just kind of tuning in to what is the back of your front leg feeling, the front of your back leg, and just kind of saying hello, right? There's no need to judge what you find. Yeah. And then from here, we're going to be coming up. So you could support yourself with the blocks. And the invitation is to press down into your front leg. Invite that fire in your core and to come all the way up to standing, reaching your arms up. Staying here for a moment, and then we're actually going to ground through the back heel. So releasing the back heel. And you could even like bring your hands to your hip bones and kind of floss your hips so they find like the placement of them that feels, you know, like what is that? Goldilocks, the Goldilocks zone, right? Where's the soup not too hot, not too cold, but where does it feel just right? Like that sweet spot in the middle. And then whenever you're ready, straightening the front leg and finding pyramid. So that might look like bringing your navel towards the front of your leg. You could bring your hands down onto blocks, onto the ground. But again, maybe finding that inner harmony where you feel some sensation, some challenge, but it still feels like neutral or okay, right? And if you're noticing some pockets of tension, I definitely am in the back of my leg, you could send some breath. Maybe send some vibration. Yeah. Maybe feeling into the full length of your spine. And whenever you're ready, the invitation is to bend your front leg, come back up to warrior one, and then invite your hips towards the long edge of the mat. Coming into warrior two of Virabhadrasana. And here is going to be another opportunity for some freestyle, some yoga dance movement, right? So one way to do that from this home base of warrior two could be to flip your warrior, reaching back with your right hand, and then coming back through center into side angle, reaching your left arm above your ear. And you're welcome to kind of repeat this hand, like moving the upper part of your body a couple of times. You could find your own rhythm, your own range. You could even place your right hand lower when you come into side angle, right? So there's like so many options. Choosing your own adventure here. Maybe pausing longer somewhere, breathing. And then whenever you're ready, I invite you to straighten your front leg and turn your toes in. So coming into five-pointed star. Let me turn this way for a moment. We've been here before. And then from here, bending knees and elbows. Coming into horse or goddess. There's going to be an opportunity to do lion breath. So this is like a great way. This is how animals or lions express their boundaries, right? Through voice, through sound. So it's like basically taking an inhale, and then as you exhale, making like a like a little roar. You could add the claws. So if you want to, you could even do it silent, right? It still works. Like the muscles on the face are still working. But if you'd like to make the sound, you're welcome to. So inhaling up and exhaling. Inhaling. And maybe one more time. All right, awesome. And then pausing for a moment. You might place your hand on your heart and notice, how are you feeling now? I feel like tingling on my face, some energy moving, bubbling through. Yeah. And then let's meet back at the front of the mat. And if you want to explore that again on the other side, the invitation is to inhale your arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhaling your heart up. Exhale, let's meet in downward facing dog. Feeling your inhale and your exhale. You might even notice your arms as they push. So push is like another developmental movement. So feeling into that push and the strength, the power in your arms and your muscles and your shoulders. Feeling into all those big muscles on your back. Yeah. And then whenever you're ready, lifting your left leg up, stepping it in between your hands, releasing your back knee. And another opportunity for some free form movement, right? So this is like kind of inviting your brain down into your body. And you're welcome to do something totally different than me, right? This is just one way of moving. So from this home base of low lunge, maybe moving your hips forward and back, finding like your own range, breathing into any pockets of tension, maybe even adding some self-touch. You could lift your back knee. Well, there's no right or wrong way to be moving your body. We all have different bodies that have different needs. Oh, yeah. And you could stay here longer if you want to. That's always an option, right? Or maybe making our way up. So using the supportive blocks or your hands, the invitation is to lift your back knee, press into your front leg, engaging your primordial sense of self, right? So in your belly, your navel, engaging that fire, Agni. And let's come all the way up. Whew. All righty. Just staying here for a little moment, and then the invitation is to release your back knee, not your knee, your heel down for warrior one. And you could bring your hands to your hips for a moment and floss them to find that sweet spot, right? Like you don't have to crank your hips forward, but maybe finding like where does it feel okay for them to be in this warrior one shape. And then from here, the invitation is to straighten your front leg and to find pyramid on this leg. And you might find that it feels totally different on this side. It does for me, and that's okay, right? Our bodies are never even, and they don't have to be. Yeah, so feeling into the story, what is the story on this leg? So is your pyramid going to be somewhere higher? Maybe your hands reach the mat. Maybe they're on blocks. There's nothing to achieve or perfect here. It's like tuning in to the story of your front leg, then your back leg, because you probably feel something in the back of your leg also. I'm guessing. Oh, and then whenever you're ready, let's bend through the front knee, coming up, inviting your hips to turn towards the long edge of the mat. Warrior two. And like last time, you're welcome to stay in stillness in this more traditional warrior two, or maybe finding this yoga dance. So you could reverse your warrior, reaching through your left arm up, and then maybe coming through center to side angle, right arm over your ear. Left arm could be on your thigh, a block, the ground. And maybe staying here in this little yoga dance for a couple of moments. Yeah. And then on your next breath in and out, if you want, let's straighten that front leg, turn the toes in, and again, we're in star. Pausing for a moment and notice, what does it feel like to take up space? Maybe feeling into your lower limbs, so from the navel down, feeling into your connection with the earth, feeling the width of your body, the strength in your arms. You could even imagine that you're pushing against invisible walls. Feeling into the full length of your spine. What does it feel like when you take up space? And there's no right or wrong answer here, by the way. Yeah, you might even say to yourself, like, I deserve to take up space. Like, I am here and I deserve to take up space. And notice how your body responds. Yeah. And then whenever you're ready, slowly, let's meet in downward facing dog. Coming towards the end of our practice. From here, you might look between your hands, step or hop, and come down into seated. I'm going to offer one more shape before the practice of rest or shavasana. So coming into a forward fold, you could do this with straight legs, bent legs. I like to start with bent knees. So whenever you're ready, reaching up, lengthening through your spine, and inviting your belly or your navel to come down towards your legs. And then curling in. And you're welcome to just kind of stay as you are, or exploration could be to invite tension or muscle engagement into your whole body for a moment. So flexing your toes or curling them, inviting muscle engagement in your legs, your navel, your back, your arms, your face, everything tight. And then for 3 seconds, let's intentionally invite softening and release. 3, 2, and 1. Hmm. Hmm. And you're welcome to stay here longer if you want to. And whenever you feel ready, coming up to a seated shape. And then maybe making your way down to lying down. Or you're welcome to maybe stay seated. All right, whatever works for you. And taking the next minute to check in to see if there's any other movement or shape that your body feels like it's craving. Oh, I usually like to do a little like full body yawn, so like lengthening and engaging all the muscles in one direction. Oh, and then releasing. Ah, just allowing yourself to kind of follow that impulse, like what wants to happen? Maybe what feels good or okay. Oh, if you're doing this full body yawn, there might be some yawning that actually appears. It's kind of like embodying your favorite animal. Oh, like how they act after a nap. Yeah. And then you're welcome to practice final or the practice of rest shavasana while moving your body, right? That's always an option. Not everyone likes to lie still, but you're also welcome to do it more traditionally, right? So either moving your body in some way or finding stillness. I'm actually going to sit, taking the next moment to kind of tune in to see like what wants to happen for you. You could close your eyes or keep them open. Choosing is more important than doing. And then from here, wherever you are, the invitation is to notice the parts of your body that are connecting to the surface below you. And if it's available, noticing if you feel the support of that surface, the support of the ground, of the earth, of gravity as it kind of holds your body up. And another thing you could sense, notice, or imagine here is like this bubble that's surrounding your whole body. A bubble or a membrane. This is actually in the memory of our cells, like when we're in utero in our mom's belly, we had this protective bubble. Maybe feeling into that. Maybe there's like a color, a texture, a temperature to this bubble. Maybe it's fuzzy, maybe it's wet. Just kind of notice, sense, or imagine this protective bubble around you. And this bubble, it's not rigid, but it's permeable, and it actually keeps things out that you don't want, but it also lets stuff in. So it's kind of flexible, right? So as you kind of feel into that beautiful boundary, the bubble, spending the last 2 minutes to just allow your system to integrate, to absorb whatever feels nourishing from this practice, soaking it in through your protective bubble, the nourishment, whatever felt supportive, savoring it, integrating it, and then letting anything that doesn't feel like it's necessary or helpful to come out. Knowing that you don't have to keep holding it, keep carrying it. Yeah. And you're welcome to stay in this bubble longer. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like, actually, and just knowing that it's always here. This bubble, this membrane, this cloud, this color that's protecting you. It's always here. It's always accessible. And whenever you feel like you want to bring your practice to an end, maybe tuning in to see how are you feeling now. No wrong answer. And there's a possibility that you might be feeling an impulse, perhaps from your navel, your core, your center, to start to move your body in some way. That might be wiggling toes, fingers, maybe stretching. If your eyes are closed, you might reorient to the space around you. And whenever you feel ready, making your way back to a seated shape. And thank you so much for your practice. The good in me sees and honors the good in you.